You ever feel like music mixing is some kind of intimidating, secret, dark art? Yeah, you're not alone. But what if I told you it could be broken down into a simple, repeatable workflow? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to use a really cool technique called feathering faders to get you way closer to that pro sound you're chasing. So you've written this amazing song. You've recorded all the parts, but when you put it all together, it just sounds kind of cluttered, right? A little weak, maybe. It's missing that punch, that clarity you hear on your favorite records. This is like the most common hurdle for producers. And listen, it's not about buying more expensive gear. It's about understanding one single guiding principle. Believe it or not, every single decision a mix engineer makes, every knob they turn, every fader they push, it's all in service of one thing. It's the North Star for every great mix out there. And that one word is balance. That's it. The whole goal is to create a balanced soundstage. And this isn't just about volume, It's about giving every single instrument its own perfect little space to shine, so you can create this clear, three-dimensional sonic picture. So the question is, how do we actually build that balance from scratch? It all starts right here. This is the most crucial step in the whole process, building your static mix. Think of this as the bedrock that everything else is going to be built on. Get this part right, and I'm telling you, you're already halfway to a professional-sounding track. Okay, so the workflow is super simple, and it just makes sense. First, we start from total silence. Pull all your faders down. Then we build the foundation with the two most important low-end elements, the kick and the bass. From there, we bring in the other instruments. But the way we find the right level for each one, that's where the magic happens. We're going to use a technique that's all about your ears, not your eyes. So why do we start with the kick and bass? It's simple, really. Those low-end frequencies just eat up the most energy and space in a mix. If you can get their relationship right from the very beginning, you'll have a solid, powerful foundation without blowing out your headroom right away. And this brings us to that core technique I mentioned, feathering the faders. This isn't about making these tiny, precise little moves. No, it's about grabbing a fader and quickly trying it out in a few different spots. Too quiet, too loud, and then somewhere in the middle. Your ear will instantly, and I mean instantly, tell you which one feels right. It's a really fast, musical way to build that initial balance. All right, so once your levels are roughly balanced, it's time to stop thinking just up and down and start thinking left to right and front to back. We're going to give each sound its own specific location in a three-dimensional world. I want you to think of your mix like a stage. Panning, well, that's your tool for placing musicians from left to right, creating that awesome width. EQ, on the other hand, that's how you create depth. It lets you move sounds forward by making them a little brighter, or push them back by softening them up. It makes sure that no two instruments are stepping on each other's toes. So where does stuff actually go? Look, there are no hard and fast rules, but here are some classic starting points. Your core elements, the kick, the bass, the lead vocal, they're almost always anchored right down the middle. Meanwhile, things that play off each other, like two rhythm guitars, you pan those suckers wide to create a huge, immersive stereo image. This approach immediately gives you a wide, clear foundation to build on. Now, when it comes to EQ, you gotta remember that less is almost always more. Instead of just boosting frequencies to make something sound better, the real power comes from subtractive EQ, cutting away the unnecessary junk that causes mud or harshness. I love this description. It's like ironing out a sound. You're just smoothing out the wrinkles so the real character can finally shine through. Okay, so our mix is balanced, it's spaced out. Now we need to manage the energy. Music is dynamic, right? It gets loud, it gets quiet. Our job is to control that dynamic range so that every single part of the performance is heard and felt, from the softest little whisper to the loudest hit. And the main tool for this job? It's compression. I know, this can seem really complicated, but at its core, it's just a smart volume knob. That's all it is. It automatically turns down the parts of a sound that get a little too loud, and it helps bring up the quieter details. The result? A way more consistent, punchy, and professional sound. The 4 key controls are actually pretty easy to get with a few simple analogies. The threshold, that's like a tripwire. Compression only kicks in when the signal is loud enough to cross it. The ratio, that's how much it squeezes the sound. The attack is how fast it grabs onto that sound, and the release is just how long it holds on before letting go. Mastering these 4 controls is the absolute key to wrangling your dynamics. All right, we're in the home stretch. Our mix is balanced, it's wide, it's clear, and it's controlled. Now for the really fun part, adding that final polish that makes it feel alive. This is where we create the environment and add those final human touches. There's this fantastic metaphor for effects like reverb and delay. They're the gown the sound is wearing. How cool is that? These effects create the illusion that all of your tracks, which were recorded separately, are actually performing together in the same room. Seriously, just a tiny touch of reverb can glue the whole mix together and make it feel so much more cohesive and natural. So, we've balanced the levels, we've panned everything, we've EQ'd, we've controlled the dynamics, and we've added effects. We've got a solid, clean static mix. But are we done? Does it feel like a living, breathing performance yet? Not quite. The final, absolutely crucial step is automation. This is where you transform your static mix into a dynamic performance. You're going to add subtle musical flavor and movement. It is the secret ingredient that makes a mix feel truly alive and keeps the listener hooked from the first beat to the very last. So what even is it? It's really just recording changes over time. You might slightly raise the volume of a vocal in the chorus to make it just soar a little bit more, or pan a synth from one ear to the other for a big dramatic effect. Maybe you swell the reverb at the end of a big musical phrase to let it just hang in the air for a second. These little, tasteful movements, that's the human touch. That's what guides the listener's ear and injects real emotion into the track. So there you have it. That's the workflow. A logical path from complete silence to a full, balanced mix. It's a really powerful technical foundation. But the real artistry, it isn't just about achieving perfect balance. It's about knowing when to break that balance, when to push a vocal right to the front, or when to just drench a guitar in reverb for pure emotional effect. So now that you have the tools to create that balance, the real question is, what are you going to choose to emphasize?